Hey guys, Molly here again. In this video, I'm really excited to talk about the comment to message growth tool, also known as the Facebook comments growth tool. It's definitely one of my favorite growth tools to use to drive traffic from a Facebook post or ad into Facebook Messenger. Now, it's not the best growth tool to use in every situation, and we'll talk about that, but it's really, really cool if you want to get creative because the comment to message growth tool allows you to basically tell ManyChat that for a particular Facebook post or Facebook ad that you want to follow up with anyone who comments on that post inside of Facebook Messenger. So if you've been in the ManyChat Facebook group or been watching Messenger marketing for very long, you've probably seen this growth tool in action. Like I said, someone comments on a Facebook post, just a regular Facebook post that you could also turn into an ad. And as soon as they comment, it actually opens inside of Facebook Messenger and starts a conversation. So here is a visual that you'll see later in the course, but this is really how this functions. So you have a Facebook ad or an organic Facebook post on your brand page. You sync that particular post with this growth tool. So anyone that comments, or you can specify people that comment a specific keyword, we'll talk more about that. Whenever they comment, it then opens an auto response there in Messenger, which you can customize for that particular post. Now, the key to the comment to message growth tool is that you do need to ask them to engage in your auto response. So, say that we have a post that we're asking people to comment on. I'll show you examples here in a second. Someone comments. We have an auto response message that welcomes them. We are going to need to ask them to type something there inside of Messenger, hopefully some sort of keyword, so that they become a subscriber, right? So they don't become a subscriber just because they comment on the Facebook post and the message opens there in Facebook Messenger. They do need to engage. So just a little specificity here for you to keep in mind. So there's the auto response. Someone interacts, they interact, they type a keyword, and then you can subscribe them to a sequence and follow up with them over a period of time, depending on the goal of this particular campaign. So again, really, really cool growth tool here. And you want to use this when you want to generate discussion on a Facebook post or ad that continues inside of Facebook Messenger. So Facebook recently really put the hammer down on what they call engagement bait. So engagement bait essentially is using your Facebook post or ads to ask people to comment to vote whether they like LeBron James or Kobe Bryant. Right? It's when people are asking for engagement with no purpose. And we need to keep in mind that everything we do in Messenger should be in Facebook and the Facebook user's best interest, right? Or that feature will probably go away. So a lot of people have used the comment to message growth tool in the past, myself included, to say things like comment X below to get this free guide, right? And people comment, the letter X, or they comment yes, and then it opens in Messenger. Ask if they want that free report. They say yes, they become a subscriber, and then we deliver that guide or whatever we were promising inside of the Facebook post. So Facebook and the Messenger team recently told us, the ManyChat team, that that's not the direction that they want to go with this tool. They want people to actually use the comment to message growth tool to generate real discussion and real engagement on Facebook posts and Facebook ads. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about using this growth tool. We don't want to use this growth tool to say, comment free below to get, a free ice cream cone. That's not what Facebook wants. They will punish you with low reach, and in the future, it could put your account in jeopardy. So we want to make sure that we're only using this growth tool in really creative ways that gets people to actually interact with us and give us their feedback and generate discussion that then continues inside of Facebook Messenger. This is twofold because obviously as business owners and marketers, we don't just want to have meaningless conversation with our market. We also want to make sure that it seamlessly leads, into a pitch for one of our products or services. So that's why this does take some creativity to figure out what type of question can I ask that really generates good engagement, but also leads, to my desired end result as a marketer. So let's use an example here. Let's pretend that we're selling typewriters. It was just the first thing that came to mind for me. Let's pretend that we're a company, we're selling typewriters, and that we want to use the comment to message growth tool to generate conversation with people that like to write, because people that like to write are probably best qualified to buy our typewriters. So we're going to hop over here into Facebook, actually. And I'm using this as just a dummy Facebook page. There are a few ways that you can go about this when you're setting up the actual Facebook post that you will then sync to the growth tool here in ManyChat. So if you don't mind the post also being front facing here and an organic post on your page, I recommend just going ahead and making this post right here on your Facebook page. If for some reason you only want this to be an ad, you don't want this to show organically, the best way to do that would be inside of Business Manager, going to this Page Post tab. This Page Post tab will allow you to create posts that aren't just shown on your forward-facing organic Facebook page, right? So again, you can either create the post organically here on the page, right? With copy, you can use a photo or a video, or you can go to the Page Post tab and hit Create Post and create a photo post here or a video post here. Once you set up the post here, you would simply hit Create Post. So we're going to just say test. Oh, it wants a video. I don't have one in this account, so we're just going to do test, create post, because really what you're wanting to do, if you want to turn this into an ad, is to get this post ID. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. But again, if you don't want this to be organically forward facing on your Facebook page, then you would go to the Page Post tab here under Ads Post, hit Create Post, and you would create the post here to get that post ID so that we can then create an ad. But let's take a step back here. Let's talk about typewriters again. And the fact that we want to use the comment to message growth tool to reach people who like to write. So my first instinct with these comment to message posts with the new engagement bait rules is to try to ask a polarizing question in your market that's really gonna get discussion going, but that also sparks some curiosity that makes them really want to know what your brand also thinks on the topic. So I was thinking about writers and things that they might argue about or care about. And the first thing I thought about was the Oxford comma, right? When I worked at Digital Marketer, copywriters were always arguing playfully about the use of the Oxford comma. So this would be a great example of how to use comment to message to start discussion and to draw in interest of writers so that we can then sell them a typewriter. So what I went with was to use the Oxford comma or not to use the Oxford comma. That is the question. What's your stance? Comment below and we'll respond in Messenger with our stance or our opinion. So this is really short and sweet. You could add a photo to this, maybe with an Oxford comma, a little bit of text, something that speaks to writers. You could have a video, maybe a head-on video that's asking this question and posing this question to the market, but really, really simple, right? This is, again, something that's polarizing in the market and a great question that's going to spark discussion. Say we were in the yoga market. We could simply ask what their favorite yoga pose is and why, right? And then say, comment below and we'll respond in Messenger with our opinion. So it doesn't just have to be a polarizing question, right? Like Oxford comma or no Oxford comma. You can also ask for their feedback and you could ask, what's your favorite yoga pose? And, us as a yoga media property, right? We'll pretend we will respond with our favorite yoga pose inside of Facebook Messenger. What's really important about these posts is that you tell them what to do. Facebook Messenger, as we all know, is still very new, and it could be super surprising for them to see a message pop up in Messenger from your brand. So make sure you're telling them to comment below and that you will respond in Facebook Messenger, right? With your opinion or your stance, or, whatever the hook is there, what you're going to be delivering inside of Facebook Messenger. So for this one, again, you could add a photo, you could add a video, you could keep it as is. So we're going to go ahead and publish this. Again, we could have published this back here in the page post tab. If we didn't want it to show, we would have grabbed that ID. So now we have this post, right? We're going to hop over into ManyChat now, and I'll show you how to make this post trigger comments. And if I were you, before you hit publish, I would do the stuff inside of ManyChat here. I just got excited and went ahead and posted. So we're going to hop over. We're going to hit the Facebook Comments Growth tool here. Select a post. So this is where you're either going to input the ID that you created here in the page post tab, or your post just might show here. And it looks like it actually pulled in our test from the page post tab too. So you would select that, and this tells ManyChat this is the post ID where we want to trigger this particular functionality. You're going to say, yes, we're following Facebook's rules. The next thing, track first level comments only. I always turn this on because if I tag a friend and they comment on, me tagging them, I don't want them to necessarily, I don't want that to trigger a conversation in Messenger. So this is just a nicer experience for everyone. You also have the option to follow up with the message inside of Messenger immediately or have some delay. I would just go with immediately. Everyone's looking for that immediate gratification. You can exclude comments with these keywords. So maybe if there's a certain word that people type that you just really don't want to follow up with those people, that's an option. Or you can say, I only want to trigger for comments with these keywords. So maybe for some reason, we're only wanting to follow up with people who like a certain yoga pose. So we would type whatever keywords represent that particular pose here. The best use of this feature, though, that I've seen, people usually don't fill these out, right? We want to take advantage of everyone that's commenting. So then we're going to hit next. So the auto response. So remember, guys, the auto response is the first message that they're going to get in Messenger after they comment, right? So really important. This is unique to this particular growth tool and post that you're setting up. So this auto response needs to follow up and get them to engage with us so that they become a subscriber. So we can say, hey, full name, thanks for leaving a comment and expressing your opinion on the Oxford common, want to hear what we think? Type the word yes below. FYI, ignore the link above. It will take you back to Facebook. So that will make more sense in a bit when you guys see this in action. But when it opens inside of Messenger, Facebook shows a link back to the post that they came from. So we just want to make sure we're giving them really good instructions. So, hey, full name, thanks for leaving a comment and expressing your opinion on the Oxford comma. Want to hear what we think? Type the word yes below. FYI, ignore the link above. It will take you back to Facebook. Awesome. And then opt-in actions. So this is really important, guys. We have 3 options here, and it really depends on what you want to do after they engage with you. So you could have don't send the opt-in message, and basically you would set up your follow-up sequence. However you want to follow up with these people, you would have that sequence trigger when they type that particular keyword. You could also choose send everyone who replies. So this sends the opt-in message to any user who replies to the auto response message. And then you could also use send only to users who reply with a keyword. So send the opt-in message only to users who reply with any of the keywords provided. These keywords will be triggered only for this exact growth tool. So this is very similar to the keyword function that I was just talking about that you would set up under automation, but this is only specific to this particular instance of this growth tool. So I usually use send to everyone who replies, and I build my sequence essentially in here. So we have auto response. Hey, full name, thanks for leaving a comment and expressing your opinion. Want to hear what we think? Type the word yes. They type the word yes, and then we're following up with these people, right? So we're going to hit the edit button here. And we can go to Flow Builder and we can set up a sequence, right? So if we're selling typewriters, this first message here is going to need to express our opinion on the Oxford comma, right? So that's what we promise to tell them when they type yes. So we need to make sure that this message has really good content. So, this message could be a video, it could be audio, it could be a file, it could just be text. But in this message, we would need to express how we feel about the Oxford comma. We can then tag them into. So this is going to ensure that we follow up with everyone who responds to our auto response message. Now, this opt-in message you can edit here. The opt-in message, it needs to continue whatever conversation you were having and that you promised in the Facebook post and the auto response message. So you can edit this opt-in message very similar to any other message. You can add video, you can add audio, you can add images, you can add buttons. So for us, this message here would really explain what we thought about the Oxford comma, right? Maybe we would shoot a cute little video, maybe we would just write it out in text, but this opt-in message needs to continue whatever conversation that you were having with users throughout this process. At the end of this message, we could then transition that conversation into a conversation about typewriters. And we could ask maybe if they own a typewriter. We could ask yes or no. Or we could leave a pitch totally out of this, and we could subscribe them to a sequence here, which they'll get subscribed to as soon as they engage with the auto response message. And we could have this sequence, the first message, start less than 24 hours after this auto response. So the first message in the sequence is Dan taught you how to build, would be triggered less than 24 hours so that we could still be promotional. And maybe the first message of that sequence asks if they own a typewriter or if they're interested in learning more about our typewriters. Of course, we can build this sequence to deliver over multiple days and weeks. We want to make sure that we're not promotional after 24 hours. So if you do want to be promotional, in one of the messages inside of that sequence, when you're building that sequence, you would just want to set a condition that message is only sent to people who have engaged with you in the last 24 hours. Dan showed you guys how to do conditions. But what's really cool about this, guys, is that we have an auto response, they engage. We then have an opt-in message that continues the conversation, but we can also subscribe them to a sequence that starts to follow up with more content, which is really valuable. Think about what they first commented on. They commented about the Oxford comma. What's other content? What are other questions? What's more value that we could give people that like to write, that want to talk about things like the Oxford comma? Those are great questions and assets to talk about in your sequence, so that you're not just following up asking them to buy something, right? So this is how this works here, guys. You're going to hit save and activate. It says widget activated. Really, really exciting. So let's go give it a shot. So we see this is, yeah, we're live here. So let's go back over to this page. Let's refresh this page here. I love the Oxford comma. All right. We're going to give our feedback here and give Facebook a second to recognize what's going on. Awesome. Look, we got a message. Hey, Molly, thanks for commenting and expressing your opinion on the Oxford comma. Want to hear our opinion? Type yes. FYI. Ignore the link. Excuse me, guys. That should have said below. Ignore the link below. It will take you back to the Facebook post. But how cool is this, guys? I commented, and this immediately opened in Messenger. if we would have set the opt-in message and sequence up, as soon as I said yes, it would have shown me the opt-in message, which I could have engaged with. And I would have also been subscribed to a sequence that was going to follow up with more content and more information about the product or service that I sell. So really, really exciting here. Now, guys, you have a few options if you want to turn this into an ad, whether you created the post here or whether you created it on your fan page. And the way you would go about this is we're going to go to Ads Manager, and this is just a dummy account. So we're going to create a new campaign. And when you're running traffic to a comment to message growth tool, you want to use the engagement objective, because that's what we want. We want people to comment on the post. That's what triggers. That's the entry point to Messenger. We're going to hit continue. This ad set area is the same as we talked about in the Facebook Messenger ads video. So you could target cold traffic, warm traffic here. For your placements, you want to stick just to the Facebook feed for this because we are asking them to comment. We want to stick to the Facebook feed. Sometimes I see these ads in Instagram and it doesn't really make sense. So we want to stick to the Facebook feed. We're going to hit continue. And then this is where we are going to tell Facebook exactly which post we want to turn into an ad. So you would hit use existing post, and then you would scroll down and insert post ID. So you could either insert the ID that you got on the page post tab, or you can click here and grab the ID. It says ID equals 19, this long string of numbers. Facebook also allows you, depending on what Facebook page you have selected here. So I've got the ManyChat page selected, not the dummy page I was using. But if we did have that selected, then this first post, the Oxford comma post, would show up right here too. So you can either select it from the dropdown or insert the post ID, and then you would hit confirm. So if you want to turn one of these posts into an ad, this is how you would do that, guys. Again, you would use the engagement objective so that you're telling Facebook that you want comments, and that's going to trigger the conversation in Messenger. So I hope this was helpful for you guys and that it sparked ideas on how you can use this particular growth tool. Again, this shouldn't be used in every situation, but it is a great way to drum up interest and to drive conversations inside of Messenger, especially if you ask a really good question. Also, keep in mind that this type of growth tool is going to, if you ask a good question, it's going to generate a ton of comments on the post. So if you do turn this into an ad, that's going to be great for your relevance score. Even if you just do this as an organic post on your page, if you start to get comments, you're going to get really high reach because Facebook's saying, oh, wow, this post is getting a ton of comments. It must be really interesting. We should show it to more people. So keep that benefit in mind as you're thinking about which growth tools to use to generate more conversations inside of Facebook Messenger.